SpaceX Starlink satellite debris, and a NASA investigation. Let's talk about it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much once again joining me for tea time. Today we have a little bit of fireside. I hope you're joining me with your cup of tea, maybe a cup of coffee, hanging out, talking tech, talking photo, talking video. Today is a technology day. We're gonna be talking about SpaceX and a NASA investigation that was finally complete, and satellite and debris, just debris in general, falling from the heavens. Does it pose a danger to us here on Earth? And a few of you guys actually sent me over a link to an article, and it was from the Debrief magazine. And this article spoke about a large chunk that went through a guy's roof, and NASA did this whole investigation on it. So I want to talk to you about this and give you my thoughts. And of course, at the end, I want to hear from you. The question was, could SpaceX Starlink satellites pose a danger to people here on Earth? And today we're going to look at that possibility. So before we get into it, I just want to say that if you enjoy this content, throw it a thumbs up. That would be very helpful. If you're not subscribed, consider doing so. That would be awesome. Then if you are subscribed, click this button over here, so when I go live or when a new video comes out, you'll be notified of it immediately. And if you haven't downloaded any of my ebooks, check them out. They're free just for you being here. Go to JCristina.com/books. And if you want to say thank you for all of my hard work, there's a little thank you button right down here. You can give $1 or $2 if you like. If not, that's perfectly fine. Consider becoming a member of the channel. That would be even better. And if you want more Starlink content when you're done watching this video, I'll put a link over here just for you. That link will be a playlist of Starlink specific videos that I put together. There's about 265, I think now. I'm not exaggerating. There's a lot for you to watch. Take a look. And finally, if you're looking for a VPN, check out PureVPN. The nice folks over there gave us a promo code, which is JCristina, or you can use the URL JCristina.com/VPN. Either which way, at checkout, you will get 15 additional % off. Once again, that's PureVPN. So let's get into this article that you guys sent me, a bunch of you guys sent me, and then I'll give you my commentary on it. And finally, like I said before, I want to hear from you down below in the comment area. That is where all of the magic happens on this channel. It's not about me, this talking head, as I always say. Anyways, the article starts out by saying, a recent NASA analysis of an object that fell from space and struck a home in Naples, Florida last month has confirmed that it was a piece of hardware released from the International Space Station. This was not SpaceX. International Space Station, the ISS. The object was discovered after it crashed through the roof of a home, causing significant damage to the residents and landing only 2 rooms away from the owner's son, who was at home at the time. The cylindrical object was provided to NASA's officials for analysis. On Monday, April 15th, a couple of days ago, the results of NASA's analysis were made available on the official International Space Station blog. Quote, in March 2021, that is 3 years ago, NASA's ground control used the International Space Station's robotic arm to release a cargo pallet containing aging nickel hydride batteries from the space station following the delivery and installation of new lithium-ion batteries as part of a power upgrade on the orbital outpost. The total mass of the hardware released from the space station was about 5,800 pounds. That is massive. Wow. Although the hardware had been expected to be destroyed during re-entry, NASA says the small piece that struck the home somehow managed to survive. Yeah, it did. As part of the analysis, NASA completed an assessment of the object's dimension and features compared to the released hardware and performed a materials analysis. Based on the examination, the agency determined the debris to be a support used to mount batteries to the cargo pallet. The object was constructed of aluminum alloy containing chromium and iron and weighed approximately 1.6 pounds. 1.6 pounds. Remember that number also. NASA says the International Space Station plans to conduct further investigation of the jettison and re-entry analysis to determine the cause of the debris survival and to update modeling and analysis as needed. Although the American Space Agency currently relies on engineering models that allow it to predict how objects will increase in temperature and eventually disintegrate during re-entry, they aren't always 100% accurate. These models require detailed input parameters and are regularly updated when debris is found to have survived atmospheric re-entry and hit the ground. So, they're constantly updating these models. And once again, they're engineering, they're mathematical models to figure out what size, what shape, what density, what materials can survive and what can't re-entry. So I was thinking about this, and I remembered a couple of years ago, I did a video for you guys, and I talked about SpaceX launching satellites, and there was like 49 of them that launched, and a bunch of them ended up re-entering. And that was due to a solar storm. So I found the article. I want to read a portion of this to you. And then once again, I want to give you my thoughts on this. Now, remember those numbers from before. 5,800 pounds was released and 1.6 pound actually hit the ground. That's a very small percentage, but still it did hit the ground. Anyways, remember this article was from a couple of years ago. SpaceX will lose 40 of 49 SpaceX Starlink satellites it launched last week as a result of a geomagnetic storm, a solar storm. Unfortunately, the satellites deployed on Thursday were significantly impacted by a geomagnetic storm on Friday, SpaceX said in a statement. These storms caused the atmosphere to warm and atmospheric density at our low deployment altitudes to increase. The speed and severity of the storm resulted in, quote, atmospheric drag. That was up to 50% higher than during previous launches. Though the satellites were commanded to take cover from the storm by flying on edge like a sheet of paper. This is very interesting. They failed to carry out the maneuver to reach their required altitude. Now, some of you guys don't know it, but if the satellite is told to take cover, it will rotate itself so that instead of pointing directly at Earth, it will rotate so it's looking on edge. So the edge of it is pointing at the Earth and the edge of it is pointing out into the solar system. So when it gets hit with that solar wind or with that geomagnetic storm, it gets hit with a glancing blow. So to hopefully allow it to survive. Well, 40 of the 49 did not survive. Anyways, the article finalizes with this. Up to 40 of the satellites will re-enter or have already re-entered the Earth's atmosphere. The deorbiting satellites pose zero collision risk with other satellites. That's good. The Starlink satellites are designed to disintegrate upon re-entering Earth's atmosphere, the company said, meaning no orbital debris is created and no satellite parts hit the ground. So, the bottom line here is with SpaceX Starlink satellites, all right, the density of the materials used, the size of the material, everything about the satellite is made to disintegrate. And obviously we saw 2 years ago when 40 out of the 49 of these satellites disintegrated, nothing was ever reported to hit Earth. That means a lot. Now, the difference between the satellite and the NASA's release, the ISS release of those batteries and that massive pod, let's call it, 5,800 pounds, remember, only 1.6 pounds of that actually reached Earth. And it was a connecting rod of the pallet to the batteries and such. And that rod was made out of some type of material that obviously, matter of fact, I'm going to bring up a picture of it right here. You can see it's melted a little bit on the one side, but not the whole thing. So that alloy can definitely withstand the heat that is produced coming back into the atmosphere. And that is the type of notation that SpaceX makes as well as NASA makes. So then when they're running through the models on what type of materials to use on these satellites, they know what's going to be able to survive re-entry and what will not. And obviously what we saw here with those 40 out of 49 that actually re-entered, there was nothing left of them. I remember seeing it at the time and it looked like fireworks going across the sky. So even though this article that you guys sent to me from the debrief on this re-entry of this chunk that ended up hitting a house and was really close to actually hitting a child, which is even worse, this will not happen with anything that SpaceX has produced when it comes to their satellites. That's the version 1.0s, the 1.5s, or the 2.0 minis that they're using, and going on in perpetuity because they know the type of material that will survive and what will not. So this is very important. So I would have to say there's really almost, let's say 99.9% chance that all of SpaceX Starlink satellites will disintegrate in the atmosphere. Because there's always going to be that 0.1 someplace, right, where something just is amiss. But I would say that there's really nothing to worry about. I would worry more about things like when you see payloads of thousands and thousands, almost 6,000 pounds being released of batteries into the atmosphere, they 100% disintegrate besides the small connecting part, right? I'd worry more about that than the satellites, in my personal opinion. Anyways, I want to know what say you. Do you think that we should be worried when there's 43,000 SpaceX Starlinks up there in LEO? Should we worry about getting hit in the head with a piece or a chunk of a satellite? I don't know. Down below, I want to hear from you. What do you think? Anyways, if you found this video interesting, even in the least, throw it a thumbs up. That would be awesome. And finally, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools I've invented for you and me over the many years. And hopefully there's something there that you might like. Check out my merch, check out my tees, pick something up, support me and my family. That would be awesome. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay connected, and we'll see you in the next one. Love you all.